What's up, guys? Brad here, and we are back once again with Triple Bravo doing the Pool 2 tier list for Marvel Snap. So Bravo just got through Pool 2, believe, probably like a day or two ago, right?
Yep.
Okay, so he's relatively new. I've been through it for quite some time. I think my collection level is like 1,400 and something right now. Um, Maybe on like the higher end of 1,400. And he's like maybe 10 levels above that, or like the pool 2 level. So just to give you kind of a rough guesstimate. So I have a little more experience than he does with these cards, but I think he's probably experimented with a bunch of them and seen a bunch of them played. So he's,
Well, yeah, I've seen all of them for sure.
yeah. So yeah, we'll jump right into it. This one should be significantly shorter than the last video, thank God. So no worries about that. So we're gonna start off with Agent 13. And how do you feel about this? One cost, two power, on reveal, add a random card to your hand.
I think she's dumpster trash.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, C at best.
Hmm.
I don't. I mean, you put a random card in your hand if you're playing a specific deck, which is actually something I wanted to bring up. Is like
Hmm.
we're in pool two now, so you pretty much have um you have the ability to make like specific decks pretty well.
Yeah, you
So I
start
don't.
to
I
you start
yeah.
to gain
So I
access
don't.
to a couple better cards.
I don't know how like some of these cards it's like, oh yeah, this is fine, but it's like for a specific deck, but you can do that now. So
Hmm.
taking that into account, you put a random card in your hand, maybe it's useful, maybe it's not. I see benefit, so it's probably not a D, it's probably a C.
Yeah.
But
Um.
there's other one two cards, one cost two power cards that are better than this, that are more reliable, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. So, um, I do think that there are some benefits to it. That you got the collector, which gets plus card, plus from your hand. You've got stuff like the Devil Dinosaur, where you're keeping like you play a card, but you're still gaining a card in your hand.
Yep.
Um, so I think that the card is probably maybe a tad better than what you're saying, but I do agree there definitely are better one drops, and there's like even one in this um, pool specifically that's better. But we'll get to that later on. Um, I would say this is B to C. I feel like this card is played a lot actually, because it is just a 1/2 that just gives you a card. It's like it's better than Quicksilver. It's better than it's. I would say it's better than the average one drop. That's what I would say.
Okay, I will say the power of getting a card in your hand under your own control is pretty
Mm,
strong.
yeah, I would say I'd say B's probably somewhat fair. Um,
Okay, I agree.
yeah, and it's just because of the uh I don't think it's very powerful. I don't play this card very often because the cards and um the decks that it falls into, I just don't seem to play myself. Like Double Dinosaur. I haven't played Double Dinosaur since like he was nerfed. But yeah, anyways, get along on that. Next up, we'll go to Bucky Barnes. 2 cost, 1 power. When this is destroyed, create the Winter Soldier in its place. The Winter Soldier is just a 6 power guy with no real text. So basically, for 2 cost, if you can kill him, you get 6 power.
Yeah, I think he's probably A tier for me because maybe it's because of the decks that I play, and I
Hmm.
pretty much always have Carnage, and he seems to come around
Yeah.
frequently. With the 12 card deck. I pretty much never have a problem triggering Bucky Barnes,
Yeah.
to go to the six cost. So I feel like it's pretty doggone useful.
Oh yeah. So Bucky Barnes was probably so the deck that I was like demolishing at the time. The ladder, I would say. I don't know. That's what people call it in Marvel Snap. But anyways, I was like just rolling over people with a very aggressive Bucky Barnes Carnage deck at the time, and the high end was Kazar, which we talked about in the last video. So it was like all one drops, and then you had Carnage, Bucky Barnes, Deathlock, I think, and I believe Kazar was the only one. That could be wrong. I can't remember. It's been a while. But
Mhm.
it's yeah, I would say this is definitely in the A tier. Don't think it makes it into S. I don't think it's that good, but I think A is definitely the right spot. It could. I mean, there's definitely probably an argument. Maybe if you're like looking at all of these cards, there's an argument it's one of the better cards in the set. So yeah, we'll go with Cloak next. 2 cost, 4 power on reveal. Next turn, both players can move cards to this location. Yeah. To me, I mean, it's basically made for the move decks, but I honestly just kind of play this as a 2 cost, 4 power guy because it's like pretty good amount of power. But I think he's pretty mediocre at best, in my opinion.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's how you feel too.
I feel the same way. I think he's probably a C tier
Yeah.
guy. Although the power is not, it's not bad. It's
Power, yeah, the power is definitely
I
not bad, but
yeah.
you're giving the benefit to both players, right? So it's like you're not really gaining a benefit. It's like there's a chance that he could sweep that side if you play him. But
Yeah, so the difference would be it's coming and the enemy wouldn't, and you have a deck probably built for movement, so
yeah,
probably works out in your favor, you'd hope.
yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, so next up we have the collector. 2 cost, 1 power. When a card is added to your hand, you gain +1 power. So this guy, I honestly feel like I feel like he's not as good anymore. So he used to be 2 cost, 0 power, gave +2 power. I rarely see him now. I've uh, I've seen one video from a guy online that did a deck with him, and he
Mhm.
got it to like 6 power, so like that's good. I mean, it's kind of like the Winter Soldier, but I feel like it's kind of niche. I would say it's probably towards the C tier also.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's a little too hard to feed into. There's not a lot of ways. Like, I think I might have 3 ways,
Hmm.
that I can do it, so, yeah, it's just not, and, like, you'd have to draw all those cards correctly,
Yeah,
and it's no bueno.
it's pretty specific. I kind of want to build. I've been So I've been playing a decent amount, but I haven't been experimenting with cards that much right now, like building decks and everything. I've just been kind of busy.
Mhm.
So um, I do want to try to build something with him in it again, just to try. Because like there is some cards that I just don't touch, which we'll get to in here also. So I think C is probably pretty fair. I don't know if I'd put him above Cloak or
Well,
not.
actually, I think I actually have more ways because, I have Sabretooth. I wasn't thinking of him.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah, I
think.
mean, it could be fun to experiment with him because, you get to Devil Dinosaur, Moon Girl. Well, you don't even need Devil Dinosaur, you just need Moon Girl.
Yep. Agent
So
13.
there's a couple ways.
Yeah, for sure. If you could discard Swarm, get 2 cards there in your hand.
Yep.
Apocalypse triggers it as well.
Does he really?
Yeah, it
I
goes
guess
back.
because he technically gets discarded and then put back. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd say it's like C, possibly bottom of B. I can see,
Yeah.
but all right, we're going to Ebony Maw. 1 cost, 7 power. You can't play this after turn 3, and ongoing, you can't play cards here. Excited to hear what you think about this guy.
Remove the text. You can't play this after turn 3, and I think it's a solid card.
Hmm.
I think with the specific limits on it, it's not so good.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I it I wouldn't want to put it in my deck because it's like, oh well, now I have to have it before turn 3,
Could be a dead draw.
uh, and then it's just dead. You're like, oh look, another rock.
Yeah, exactly. So I did when I made that deck with the Bucky Barnes Carnage. I had Ebony Maw in my deck, but essentially I was like, well, I'm just trying to flood locations as quick as possible and win them through the little guys. Um, I would say he's about. Ooh, I would say he's probably right around Agent 13 level. Like has a very big downside, but he also has some insane power, and there's also other cards that later on you can get that can remove the effect, or if you can play him later on or something, if you could play him like on turn 3 and you've already got the location filled, it doesn't matter anymore. And then you got
Hmm.
Kazar to buff it, or you can do something with like Mr. Fantastic, whatever. I mean, I don't think he's amazing, but I'd say he's like bottom B. I think that's
Mm,
where I'd say maybe.
yeah, the power is insane, but I
Yeah.
think the cost is too much.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to Hobgoblin. 5 cost, -8 power. On reveal, your opponent gains control of this.
I
Oh,
think he's A tier.
A tier. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, I think this might be one of the S tier guys for me. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
definitely up there, AS somewhere like that, because so there's a green goblin that's in the next pool. I don't have him yet, but he's a 3 cost, -3 power, and does the same effect. Um, and green goblin's just strictly better in my eyes because
He's
you can get.
3 cost, -3.
Yep, yeah. So I just think he's strictly better because you can get him out earlier, so you don't get like messed up. Because like, say you go on turn 5 and they drop 2 guys at the location and they just filled up the location. You're like, son of a! Now you got -8 on your side. That
Yeah.
always feels bad, but um, obviously Daredevil is massive with Hobgoblin. Daredevil and Hobgoblin combo is like one of my favorites. Um, I feel like he's gotten better since Daredevil came out, but yeah, I'd say plus you're taking up one of their locations. I don't know. It's close. It's
Hmm.
close, possibly yes, but
Let's put him in. Let's put him in S.
all right, we'll go with that.
Put him in S.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll go with Iceman next. 1 cost, 2 power. On reveal, give a random card in your opponent's hand, plus 1 cost, maximum 6, so it should not go above 6. If it does, that's probably a bug.
Hmm.
So what are we thinking?
I think he's got the default power for his cost,
Hmm.
and he's got like an annoyance. It's just going to trip up your enemy. Possibly cause them to lose their round 5, 6. Uh, combo or whatever. So I think he's a B tier. He's like a classic card to have in the deck. If you're looking for one more to put in, that would be a guy you could put in pretty safely
Yeah.
and give yourself some benefit.
So I'm gonna see if I can persuade you into A on this guy. The only reason why I'm saying that is because so this is probably my most played one drop
Hmm.
because it is one of the most consistent disruption cards that you can have at 1 cost. So Korg is there, right? Korg's also one of the better ones, but I think Iceman's just strictly better than Korg because it instantly just messes him up. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
turn you play him on, as long as you don't play him on turn 6. So you got 5 turns to play Iceman in order to mess him up. And like you said, decent power, and the on reveal is one of the better on reveal effects. You've got Rocket Raccoon, which is one of the better ones, obviously. Ant Man, Iceman, and I'd say Nightcrawler is also up there. There's a bunch of them, but I think Iceman is just one of my favorite disruption cards. So I'd say like at least throw him in an A, but because of that. But
Yeah, go for it.
I could see possibly. I don't know. I guess I'm also biased towards it because I see Iceman being played a lot for me and even my opponents too. So, uh,
Yeah.
anyways, we'll go to next one, which is Infinite. Infinite is the 6 cost 20 power, which is insane numbers. And if you played a card this turn, or last turn, excuse me, you can't play this card. So essentially, you need to skip the previous turn, which is turn 5, in order to play this 20 cost bomb on somebody.
Yep.
I remember when I first saw this card, I was so excited. I was like, look at these numbers. I love the big
Look
fat
at
numbers. Oh, the more numbers, the better.
that.
So what do you think?
I think he is a 11 cost, 20 power gentleman. Um, and I put him uh in the C tier because I don't think, even though like it's a 20 power, like okay, so he's probably B tier because if you're gonna throw down 20 power, that's a lot.
Yep.
And if you've built your deck correctly, that should win you a location no matter what.
Hmm.
So you're just fighting for one other location. So assuming you're gonna draw this guy, you're just fighting for one location.
Yeah. So for me, a lot of times you're not really trying to play this guy specifically himself. I mean, you do sometimes. There is another card that kind of goes with it, Sunspot, um, which we'll get to it later on. But essentially, if you got Sunspot down, you skip turn 5. Sunspot gets the 5 power. Then Infinite comes down for 20 power. Usually, you're probably winning that location. I mean, sometimes you play 4 cards, you don't get 20 power. Uh,
Yeah,
sometimes you're
I think
like,
a lot of times.
yeah, yeah. Until like later on when you got like if you're playing like a big deck, then you don't see that, but then you'll see it a little bit more often at least. But um, that's I would say B is fair because the downside is if it is in your hand and sometimes skipping turn 5 because if you don't have Sunspot down, that is real bad. Um, so Jubilee also though, which we'll get to next.
Yeah.
Which we'll just jump into it because I do think Infinite is B. Like you said, I think it's strong enough, but the downside is just so drastic that if you don't have another way to pull it out, it's kind of tough. But we'll go to Jubilee, the 4 cost 1 power on reveal play card from your deck at this location. So essentially, you play the card Jubilee on turn 4, and you're hoping to pull the Hulk, America Chavez, um, any of the large guys, Infinite, obviously, and slap them down. Odin also is real nice with Jubilee, um, and just get that massive power push on that location on turn 4. So that's where it becomes a little bit spicier, I would say. Um, but I would say Jubilee is probably higher than Infinite because you can play Jubilee without Infinite. But I really wouldn't probably play Infinite without Jubilee, I think. So,
Yeah, I haven't messed around with Jubilee too much, and I think it'd be fun to mess around with like a top heavy deck with her,
yep,
where you just have more of a chance of pulling a lot of power.
yep.
But I did not put her in A tier when I did this. Um, she's actually just in B tier for me.
Okay,
But
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think
Just from what I've played, she feels like she's up there in power. Um, and
I mean everybody playing definitely holds their breaths whenever you see them firecrackers going off. You're
yeah,
like, okay, come on, give me Nightcrawler, give me
nope,
something.
no whammies, no whammies. Yeah, so I play with when I play Jubilee a lot of times. I like to play Quicksilver and Domino 1 and 2 because then and those are your only 1 and 2 drops. So then you only have, and then I play like maybe, I play Wave on turn 3, and I might throw in one other 3 drop like Killmonger or something. But for the most part, everything after that are just beefy boys. I'm talking the thickums. So I'm just, you know, the chance of me pulling something big is very likely. So
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'd just say I'd say it's definitely A. I could even honestly see it going in an S if you know maybe somebody more skilled talked about it, but. All right, let's go to Killmonger. 3 cost, 3 power on reveal. Destroy all 1 cost cards. Yeah, you. I remember you said you ran into him for the first time, and he messed your day up a little bit.
Yeah, I was playing my 1 cost raid deck, and he like cleared the whole arena, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is not going well."
Oh yeah.
Uh, I I think he becomes less powerful over time, but if you were still in pool 2 playing, I think he's S tier. I think there's a lot of 1 cost cards that are still being thrown down,
Mhm.
and he just nullifies all that.
Here
Uh,
is. I'm going to agree with you. I think he's also S tier. So I think he's essentially just a better Electra. Um,
yeah,
because number one, if you're playing him in your deck, you're probably not playing any 1 drops. If you're playing 1 drops, it's something you don't care about killing off. Maybe it's got a negative effect or something.
or like a Nova.
Yeah, or like
You know?
Nova, right? Um, so I feel like he is one of the best tech cards in the game to just throw in. And
Mhm.
also, we already talked about Sunspot. Sunspot is the most played card in the game from the stats that are on the website that I've checked out. Now, I don't know. I know that they're not pulling the stats like actually from everything. It's just who reports it to that website. But on that website, the most played card is Sunspot in most decks and everything. So there is a very powerful 1 drop that you can kill. So I agree. But
Yeah.
let's go to Leech. 5 cost, 3 power. On reveal, remove the abilities from all cards in your opponent's hand. Have you ever played this card?
I have not.
Neither have I.
But here's the thing. I think he's A tier, uh, because
Spicy,
and
spicy choice.
honestly, he could be. I could be convinced to be put in S tier
Okay, I want to
because
hear. I want to hear the logic behind this.
he's on the same exact uh logic as Iceman, where he's a guaranteed disrupt, and let me tell you, eliminating the text on, let's say, 3 cards average, maybe that's a big deal. You just turned a lot of cards into nothing burgers, you know.
Yeah. So, all right. We'll see where we land here. We're polar opposites on this.
Really?
Yes, I think he is F tier, not even D tier. F tier. I don't know why. I think this is like the worst card in the game. One of the worst cards. My mentality is the difference between Iceman and Leech is Iceman you could play any turn, 1 through 5, and it does something. Right? Turn 6 is the only time he doesn't do anything. Leech, you have 1 turn that he can get played, and he does something, and that's turn 5
Wait,
because
why is that?
he's a 5 power card. 5.
Oh, I thought he was 3.
Yeah,
But yeah, 5
it's
still
5 cost, 3 power. So it's you were thinking opposite.
yeah.
If he was 3 cost, 5 power, I mean he'd be absolutely insane.
Okay. Okay. I don't think he's S tier, but I think he's A tier for sure.
Okay.
Uh, because you're gonna ruin the whammy,
Yeah.
right? You're gonna ruin their last card if they're playing for, like, scale, like they have to play the 6 cost card at the end, and you just made Odin just like
A
a
6/8.
freaking,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a it's just a plain.
abomination,
Yeah, yeah. So
So
I do see what you're saying. I think the only negative thing about it is if you could get Leech out earlier, like if this guy was a 4 cost, I think it would be like like this card would get buffed so much by getting dropped by 1, like so much. but because it's 5, you're only playing 3 power, and then they're playing something large, right? So maybe they play, um, who knows what? I don't know. They just played Abomination, right? They're getting 8 power, you're getting 3. It's a big enough difference. I feel like if his power was better, it would be different too. And on top of that, on turn like a lot of the turn sixes, I feel like I don't know how it would work. Like I think Apocalypse keeps his buffs if he gets leeched. Like I don't
He
think it.
would.
So so essentially, it doesn't do anything to Apocalypse. Uh,
He like if they played a Lady Sif turn 5 and you had the initiative, you eliminate his text.
yeah,
Sif kills him, she kills her own card. So like I mean that's pretty specific, right? But
yeah. There's definitely specific instances like if they have this, if they have that, which does come down to a lot of things. But I feel like I don't feel like it's as. It would be better to affect a lot of the smaller cards, like Jubilee, right? Like imagine if this could affect Jubilee, because then it's like, well, damn, I got a 4 cost 1 power or Iron Man something. It. I feel like C is the best I can give this. I don't know. How about this
uh,
for you? We'll leave it in B. We'll split the difference. How's that
splits a
sound?
difference.
How's that
Yeah.
sound?
By
All
the
right.
way, Leech, I looked at the stats. It's the fourth highest win rate card in the game.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Wow.
58% win rate. But also, like
I gotta.
it's
All right. I gotta experiment with it then. Because,
yeah, like
well,
I
here's.
want to know, I want to know what happens with certain cards, right? Like, what happens if they have a saber tooth in their hand that they already discarded or destroyed? Does it become a cost again, or does
No, it
it?
would keep its four. I think it would keep because all it does is it just removes the text. It basically makes the card into a card like Cyclops or
Yeah,
Abomination or Misty
yeah.
Knight or something.
That's what I would assume would happen.
Yeah, but I'm okay. I'm taking a guess here. I think this card probably sees play when. Have you seen the card Magic? Yeah,
No.
it's a 5 cost 3 power, and it turns the location into Limbo. Limbo is the one that extends the game by 1 turn.
Ooh.
So I could see possibly you doing something where it's like you're playing it with like a wave. You got leech, you got magic, you got stuff to extend the game. You want to ruin their cards and whatnot.
Mhm.
Maybe I don't know. Now I'm curious. Now you gotta be
So,
curious.
so there's also a couple of instances where it actually makes your your chances of winning less, right? Because if I eliminate the text
On Infinite.
on Infinite, turns out that it probably isn't going to matter because they have already not like you're playing your 5 cost when they're playing or they're not playing a 5 cost, right? Because they can't play anything before the last round. So you throw that down there
Yep.
and he could just play it anyways. So it doesn't really matter with that. But like, what if they were going to play a lizard man, right? Now you just eliminated his negative effect and he's just a 2/5.
Yep.
Um, I'm sure there's other cards out there like that would affect you negatively, but,
Yep.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
think,
I do think that his ability, if it gets played onto enough things early enough, is a big enough effect. Now I'm curious because maybe it is that because I mean it is a very strong ability, but his cost, strength are what I feel like absolutely kill him. But we'll see. I'm gonna do a little research later. I'm gonna try to find like some videos of him. All right, we got long on that guy. Let's talk about Morbius. 2 cost, 0 power, ongoing, +2 power for each time you discard a card this game. You played a lot of discard. How'd you like him?
I just started mixing him into my discard deck, and I'd say it's pretty easy to get him to 4 power. Beyond that, there's just not enough time in the game generally. So he's like a relatively consistent 4 power. So like 4 power to me means he's worth it. 2 power means like okay, you kind of broke even, with the house, whatever. Uh let's see where I put him. I think I just put him in B. I
I feel like
I
he's
might
about a B. I
yeah, I might even be convinced he's a C, but I need to play around with him more. He's probably a
so
B.
I know that once you get to pool three, there's a couple other discard cards that make him obviously better because the more discard you have, the better it gets. Um, and I feel like you could probably get. I mean, you could consistently get him if you play like most of the discard cards. You could get him to 2 cost 4 power, which is good. I mean, there's 2 cost 4 powers that have negative effects, um,
Right.
and whatnot. And like you said, 2 cost 5 power with lizard, right? Um, I think he's fair, and I feel like if you can get more than that, then all of a sudden he just starts to steamroll. But there are times that you just don't draw into it at all. So that's why I would say, yeah, I'd say B is pretty fair.
Yeah, I've never had an instance where he was a zero. Um,
Yeah.
I at least you know discarded one card. It's pretty easy to do if you built a deck around it. So
Yeah, yeah. Most likely, if you're putting them in a deck, you've got a couple of them at least. All right,
yeah.
Nakia, 3 cost, 1 power. On reveal, give 2 cards in your hand plus 2 power. Card used to be give all your cards in your hand plus 2 power, which was nuts. Um, I feel like card now isn't nearly as good. But I still feel like it's okay. It's basically a 3 cost 5 power if you're looking at it that way. Which is okay. I'm not like convinced either way. I guess. Uh, I'd say B's about it. I feel like this is the B squad. I feel like B's about it.
Well,
What
it's
do you think?
funny you say B squad because Nakia and Okoye, I put right next to each other in B
Okay.
because they're both from Wakanda and they're pretty much the same. Like I'd be hard like in my mind, you're gonna have both of these in your deck if you're playing them, but maybe not. Maybe you're just looking to like fill a slot,
Yep.
right? But I could see some where you play like a 1 cost raid, but you got these 2 cards in there, and suddenly all the 1 cost cards become stronger, but with Killmonger in there, it doesn't really matter. So
Hmm. So I feel like Okoye, or however you say her name, Okoye, whatever it is. I feel like she. By the way, she's 2 cost, 2 power. On reveal, give every card in your deck plus 1 power. Um, I feel like she is significantly better than Nakia, and the
oh yeah,
reason
oh yeah,
the reason is one, she's 1 turn earlier, and you could possibly get +4 power from her, which means that if you play all those cards, it's essentially a 2 cost 6 power.
Where,
Um,
where's the other where's the other power coming from?
so you got 2 cost 2 power, right, from what she is, and she gives +1 all the cards. So you got turn 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Oh, I see
You
what you're
got four
saying.
more cards that you can hit from what you draw. Um, and I feel like it just her benefit is just so much more than the other cards. Like I just feel like she's one of the best 2 drops. I put her in like almost everything. I
Yeah,
would say
that's
she's
fair.
in. I would say she's in at least A. I'd throw her an A. We're not ordering this right, by the way.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah. So like, cause think of it this way too. You could buff Iron Man up. You could buff up. There's a lot of stuff. Getting that extra +1 onto even those big guys that you swing with.
Yeah.
It where Nakia it's totally random. It has to be in your hand. It could hit some crap that you don't want it to hit. So
Wait, is Black Panther in this card game?
I don't know. I don't think he is.
Hmm.
Research that.
It is not. What the heck, bro?
I'm sure. So
Racist.
I I know that they probably have saved some stuff like specifically for because
Oh,
like
yeah, for sure. He's going to be like
he's
a
gonna be
season.
yeah
Like
he's gonna
he's
be
yeah.
one of the seasons. It's gonna be centered around him. He's gonna have some crazy cool effect. I mean, they did it for Thor. Thor is one of the biggest characters, and they didn't have Thor in the game. It's like if they didn't have
Yeah.
Spider Man in the game. It's like you already know Spider Man's gonna be in here. So all
Yeah.
right,
I'm gonna start throwing Okoye in my decks.
yeah,
It's a solid logic right there. That's why I'm doing this, by the way. Just to like check myself and be like, oh yeah, I should be playing that card. Yeah.
yeah. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff actually. So all right, Rhino, 3 cost, 3 power. On reveal, ruin this location. You remove his ability. It just
That's my boy.
it's your boy.
No. I like Rhino the character. I think Rhino the card is just like he's a B tier for me, and I think he's like on par with
Scarlet
the
Witch, you're gonna
Scarlet
say?
Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, where like you probably don't have both of them in your deck, but having one is like pretty good. Like
Yep.
you let somebody, think like, ooh, Asgard, I'm about to get 2 cards, ha ha ha, and then you play that sucker and you're like, yeah, no, you're not.
All right.
And
So
yeah,
I do agree with you. It's they're obviously similar to you got Scarlet Witch, you've got Storm, you've got Magic, which you just learned about right now, and Rhino. They're all the ones that disrupt the board at least. And if there's another one, I don't know it yet. Um, so I think Rhino is the weakest out of all of them because basically you're only getting +1 power compared to Storm, and for Scarlet Witch, you're literally not gaining any benefit. Now there is obviously the downside of Scarlet Witch that you could roll into something that just screws you over, but
right.
I would take that gamble over Rhinos. But
Hmm.
honestly, uh, I would play Storm over all of these, and we'll get to Storm later on. But I would say he's about a C. I don't think he's like terrible, but I don't think he's.
That's fair.
I think he's probably the weakest one.
That's fair.
Sabretooth.
I guess I'm a little bit more conservative with my cards. Where like I would like a sure thing, right? Like
Yeah.
because Scarlet Witch sure seems to screw me over more than I
Yeah.
screw the other guy, right?
So she
So
was like one of the most played 1 drops because of her ability when she was a 1 cost 2 power. Like, because
oh
it's
yeah,
insane. Change a location for cost is nuts. Um, I still do see her quite a bit though, which is kind of crazy because I haven't played her since she got nerfed. That's
yeah,
just me because I will like, if I'm changing location, I'm playing Storm. That's just me.
yeah.
So, anyways, we're going to Sabretooth. 3 cost, 4 power. When this is destroyed, return it to your hand. It cost 0. You said you played it a little bit?
Yeah, it's in my destruction deck along with Wolverine.
Yep.
They're brothers, so you got to put them together. And he's I would say he's better than Wolverine if I'm being honest, just because you can have the choice where he goes.
Yep.
But Wolverine also actually I haven't ran it. I'm sure Sabretooth also turns into a 0/4 if he gets destroyed while he's in your hand. Because if Wolverine gets destroyed while he's in your hand, he just goes onto the field, which
I
is
think if it's destroyed in your hand, so Wolverine specifically says discarded. So Sabretooth does not. Sabretooth, if you get discarded, it does not go to your hand as 0 cost, which
hmm.
makes it a little worse. But I honestly have. I don't even know if I've ever played this card. I've played it maybe like once or twice. So
Do you
my.
play like a destruction deck still?
I have, but it. I feel like I always struggle to put this card in my deck. So I'm usually like eating, like I'm putting stuff in that's like got a good ability but maybe bad stats, and I like get the ability off and I eat it. Something, right? Um, I gotta test them out. I'm gonna go with whatever you say on this. I'm going with your gut because I honestly have no opinion on it. I can see how he's powerful. I know when Venom if you unlock him, which I don't have him. So he does the same thing Carnage does, but
Ooh.
he eats all of the board. He's a 3-cost 1 power, if I'm not mistaken. He eats the board and he takes all of their stats. So so he would get the 4 power from Sabretooth, and then Sabretooth would go in your
Whoa.
hand as a 0 cost.
That's so strong.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my gosh, I want that
Venom,
card so
yeah,
bad.
Venom is nasty.
Oh
So
man. Fun fact about Bravo, me. Venom was my favorite super character of all time for the longest time. And the only reason he was is because my dad got me this like yard sale Venom, and he was like this monster, and he's just super thick, and his tongue was coming out. So it was like the most demonic thing that my parents had gotten me, and I was like 8, and I was like, "This is the coolest creature I've ever seen in my life," you know, and yeah, so he's got a special place in my heart, but that is super freaking strong,
yeah, he's awesome. I can't wait to unlock him.
man.
So yeah, whatever you say, because like I said, I really haven't played it much.
Yeah,
I think he's
I think
fair.
he's a B tier. He's
Yeah,
one of those cards like we're in pool 2 now where there's quite a few of these cards where it's like, "Oh, it's a special case," but you've got the
yeah,
cards to make that happen, so that's not really like a go no go kind of thing.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I agree with that. I could see it. Next, we have Sandman, 4 cost, 1 power, massive stats. Ongoing ability is players can only play 1 card a turn.
So I'm going to defer to you on this one because I have not touched him at all and
Okay.
I didn't really know where to put him, so he's floating for me.
So Sandman is a tough card to play, but he actually is better than what he looks like. Because if you're playing against a swarm deck, which I feel like more often than not people do in this pool, in pool 2. So playing a swarm deck, you then prevent them from like on turn 5 and 6 just flooding the board with a bunch of stuff. Like they only
Yep.
play one thing. And my favorite thing to do is play him in a Jubilee deck. And then you have multiple ways of, all right, well, you can only play 1 card, and I know my cards are beefy, so you better have something good here. Uh, but being said, it is very hard to play him on 4. So I'd say once again, he's a B. I do play him
Okay.
quite a bit. I like Sandman, but
There's a
uh,
card that I unlocked. It was Electro.
oh, you got Electro. Nice. I
Yeah,
don't have him either.
where essentially they kind of like nullify each other because Electro is you get one energy, you get an extra energy a turn, but you specifically, just you can only play one card at a time. So, you if you had Sandman, you're like, okay, well, I know it's going to happen. Let's make him only do one card at a time.
Yeah.
But I mean, they just resonate together. You don't have to have them, but
I think the fun is there's a card called Viper, 2 cost, 3 power. Give your opponent a random minion on your board to the other location. So you
mm-hmm.
can give him
Ooh.
Electro to then make it to where he only can play 1 card. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know, something spicy to do.
Yeah.
So fun fact, also again, Bravo just got into pool 3 and has all different cards than I do,
Yeah.
which is
It's
really
a
funny.
it's pretty interesting. We've started sharing cards with each other as we get them, and we're like, "Oh man, I wish. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I can't believe you got that."
Yeah, he unlocks like 2 good ones, and then I unlock Yellow Jacket, which is a 0 cost, 1 power with no abilities, no text, anything.
Wasn't it Wasp?
Wasp, maybe? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Wasp. I was
What
close.
that yeah, it's definitely missing something. Like a 0/1. Come on, man.
It's something. All right. Scorpion, 2 cost, 2 power. On reveal, afflict cards in your opponent's hand with -1 power.
Yeah. So I have Scorpion as a C tier, but I have him in my destruction deck because I look at 2 cost 2 power cards as like nullified because of Carnage and like other ways to destroy them.
Yeah.
So I just like to like poke at the enemy, right? You know, it's like Iceman, you know, you poke at them, and they've got less power than they thought they were going to have, and it kind of screws up their mojo.
Okay.
But
I'm
yeah,
gonna
I don't.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
sell you on Scorpion a little more again. Kind of similar to how I sold you on like Iceman and Akoi. So it's 2 cost 2 power, but then he also is inflicting -1 to each card in their hand, which means every time they play one, it's essentially +1 power for Scorpion.
Hmm.
So usually on turn 2, if they played something on 1, I think they have 4 cards in hand, possibly 3. So you're getting basically a 2 cost 5 power, maybe 6 power card that you can play. Um, and even if they only have 2 cards in hand, it's still a 2 cost 4 power. So, and then on top of that, you can eat it with Carnage to get your 2. So you're still getting that effect off. I think he's one of the best 2 drops. I think Akoi and Scorpion are like up there. I'm not a huge 2 drop guy. I think like Carnage as of right now is like the best 2 drop. I still think like he goes into most of my decks, and then these are my other 3. It's basically Carnage is one of them, Akoi, and Scorpion. Those are the 3 that I'm putting 2 drops in. I'm
Yeah.
putting those ones.
If you're thinking globally, like the entire board of power, then yeah, I can see his value going up.
Yeah. So that's the main reason why. I feel like pretty it's pretty good. Um, just straight up ruins some situations. You know, if you hit Iron Man, that's like real devastating.
Yeah.
Um, if you hit anything that was, like if you hit Jubilee, then it's literally 0 power. So I think it, I think it works out pretty well.
Yeah.
Next, we have Shang-Chi 4 cost 3 power. On reveal, destroy all enemy cards at this location that have 9 or more power. The thing I like is that it doesn't affect your cards. But I feel like a lot of effects, like it hits everybody.
Yeah.
Armor protects everybody, or you can mess yourself up too. But
Yeah.
this one doesn't, and I like that.
Yeah, the first time I saw this card, he really screwed me. I think he destroyed 3 cards at one location, and I was just like devastated. I was like, "Oh my god!"
It's probably during the Hulk
It
location.
was, it
Yeah.
was,
Yep. That
yeah.
was what I was teching in my I was like, all right, playing 3 cards and then Shang-Chi on 4. What are you gonna do? So yeah,
Yeah,
I think Shang-Chi's about an A tier. He's I think very powerful if the meta needs him. And
yep,
I feel like enough people are playing high power minions to where he's useful.
yep.
So that's just me. All right, Storm. We talked about her a little bit. 3 cost 2 power on reveal. Flood this location. Next turn is the last turn. Cards can be played here. So you can move cards there though. So if you got like Nightcrawler, you can sneak something in. If you got Vision, you can sneak it in. Heimdall, whatever. Uh, Personally, I think this is the best. Um, I think it's the best one for location disruption. So that's just me.
Oh, I agree. I think she's I think she's A tier.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. She's pretty easy to like manipulate your cards. You can, you know, forgive my pun here, but you can flood a location with your cards and then, roll the storm in there and play, one more powerful card or something or move vision in. Like it's pretty easy to win a location off of a
There's
3 cost.
there's a couple other ones too. So there's a card Juggernaut, which makes it to where if a card moves, is played at this location, you move it. So you could play Storm and then Juggernaut if they, say if nobody played anything there, and you've only got 2 power, then you're just guaranteed to win it 5 power,
Yeah.
unless they play Vision or something
Oh, if an
spicy.
enemy card is played there.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
it's a pretty cool card. You could
So he moves
also
multiple times, or he can.
he can move multiple cards, but he yeah.
Hmm,
Basically, if you play two cards, it just moves all of them. If I'm not mistaken, I think so.
interesting.
I've only seen it hit one card though, so don't quote me on that. But we'll move to the next one. Sunspot. One cost, one power at the end of each turn. Gain one power for each unspent energy. So we talked about it a little bit. This is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's the most played card in the game. I think there's a good reason for it because it is very flexible. That's the reason. Uh, I don't play it that much anymore. I used to. Uh, I don't know. It just doesn't seem to fit into a lot of the decks for me. I know it does. Like if you get it to three power, that's where you're like, okay, you got your money's worth for it, right? But I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
Sunspot is my favorite one cost card,
Okay, so
and
he,
I put him as S tier.
I mean, I do think he's S. I was basically thinking to myself, is he does he sneak down into A? Because I feel
Because
like
of the card right next to him.
yes, I feel like as you get deeper into the game, one cost cards become less powerful.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
the pool one, like I said, when you're in pool one, you're a beginner. One drops are your life. That's your bloodline. Once you
Yeah,
get further and you start to unlock Killmonger, then it becomes like you're fearing for your life. Playing the one drops. But
yeah.
I'll agree. I
Hey, I
mean,
need to make it. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I think it is the best one drop though. So
Yeah, I need to make a correction. So I clicked the wrong column on the
okay.
website. Leech is the fourth worst card to play. the
I was
loss percentage is 58%.
wow. All right. So could I put him back to where I thought I was gonna put him?
Yeah, go for it.
The D.
There you go.
You were about to sell me on it if I was gonna look him up and see that he was. I was like, he's the fourth best card. Oh my god! All right, that sounds a little more right to me. I'm not an expert at the game by any means, but I feel like I could read cards like a decent amount. So, uh,
Yeah, Sunspot is the most played card in the game,
yeah, that's what I thought.
followed by Ant-Man, Angela, Iron Man, Lady Sif.
Everybody loves Ant Man. I mean, not Ant Man. Excuse me, Angela. I
I don't
don't
know.
play it.
Oh, that's the one that stacks as you play cards there. I played her a whole bunch in Pool One.
I haven't played
Uh,
her since Pool One, and I'm like, why would I play her now? I
yeah,
mean,
so
I know that she's useful, like, because she does get beefy for a two drop, but
yeah, I see her played a lot actually. I don't know about you, but she's still played quite a lot
yeah,
against me. Yeah,
yeah, I don't feel like she's like something that wins games though for me. I don't know, but anyways,
yeah.
let's move on to Swarm. Two cost, three
Schwarm.
power. When this is discarded, when this is discarded from your hand, add two copies that cost zero to your hand. So the big thing you want to do with this card is buff it with Nakia or Akoi and then discard it. And then you got two like maybe four or five power guys that cost zero.
Yep.
That's the dream. Um,
The dream.
I like Swarm though. I think he's all right.
Yeah, I haven't put him in my discard deck yet because I was like, man, I really feel like I've got a pretty good deck. I don't know about this guy, but with the Okoye, I don't know. I, I
Something
do
to
need to play him.
it's something to experiment with. There's a card. It's like Colin Wing or something. Two cost, four power, and you discard the lowest cost card in your hand.
Ooh,
So when you play her with Swarm, then it becomes a little juicier because you can
yeah.
target it a little bit better.
That's what my discard deck is is really missing is more ways of discarding.
Yeah,
And I have Hella now,
mm,
or was it just Hell?
I think it's Hella. I think it is.
Yeah, and I really can't play her because I don't really discard that many. Like, I have a higher chance of discarding Hella than I do like actually being able to play her because like you play Lady Sif, you're like, oh well, now I can't play two cards, or I'm just sacrificing this card. Like
Yeah,
it's a mess.
yeah,
Yeah,
I gotcha. But yeah, I think Swarm's about a B. I'd say it's about fair. Next, we have Vision. Final 3 cards. 5 cost, 7 power. You can move this each turn, which essentially says it's Nightcrawler just bigger because it's turn
yep,
5, unless you get it out earlier, which you can with like Jubilee or Wave or whatever. But to me, it's essentially Nightcrawler, just a bigger version.
yeah.
It's not bad.
And you can really only move him one time in a
Yeah,
standard
exactly.
game.
Exactly. So he's not bad though. Um,
Yeah, I don't think he's bad at all.
I would say he's about a B, possibly A, depending. I could be persuaded into A.
Yeah, I put him in A because that late in the game, you can uh you can kind of predict where your opponent's going to play, and being able to move 7 power around is a pretty big deal.
It is pretty massive. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll agree with you. I'll put an A. Yep. Next was Vulture, 3 cost, 3 power. When this moves, plus 5 power. So if you could move it, it becomes a 3 cost, 8 power. You can get the buff to happen multiple times, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a win more thing. Like it's not likely, and
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of him, honestly. Uh, Played him a little bit, but not a huge fan.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him. I still put him in the B tier because if you're playing Vulture, you're playing a deck made for moving.
Yeah,
Like you absolutely have to.
you got your Iron Fist, you got the Heimdall, you got
Mhm.
maybe Doctor Strange or whatever.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you're probably gonna get this guy moved and he's gonna be worth it, but pretty specific as well.
yeah.
So
And finally, our last card is Warpath. Warpath is a 4 cost, 5 power with ongoing. If any of your locations are empty, you get plus 4 power. So if you're playing specifically with him, you probably know you're not going to be filling one location. So essentially 4 cost, 9 power. But there is always the chance that you get the squirrel location where, something like that, which then he becomes pretty bad. Um, I think he's okay though. I mean, I think he's pretty solid. I don't play him too much anymore, but kind of want to now that I'm talking about him. So I'd say he's about a B also.
yeah, I'd agree he's a B. He's again one of those specific cards you've got a deck probably built for him. He also could like work with Heimdall,
Yeah,
where you get a little tricksy at the end and move everybody, and suddenly your left location is empty, and bam, power.
yeah. So yeah, I would mess it up and I would like play something in the wrong spot and I would flood something and he wouldn't get his effect off. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's the move stuff ain't for me too much.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for the Pool 2 tier list for Marvel Snap. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Also, check out our podcast, Envision Gaming Podcast. All the stuff. So just look up Envision Gaming Podcast. You'll find it on YouTube. That's all. Take care. I will see you in the next video.
See you.